So those are our top stories. Well, it's time now for our science segment, and we're joined by Julia today, Julia Seeger. Hi, Julia. To discuss the discovery of a significant copper deposit in Zambia by an American startup, KoBold, and it's supported by a coalition of billionaires, including Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. A discovery made with the help of artificial intelligence, which is set to have geopolitical implications. And we'll discuss all of this now. Julia, off you go.
Well, let's go back to this Californian startup. Indeed, it's called KoBold, and they announced on X the discovery of this huge copper deposit, indeed, in Zambia. It's expected to be the same size and quality as Kakula, which is a huge copper mine over the border in the DRC. Now, Zambia is the second largest producer of cobalt in Africa after the DRC, but it's actually quite rare to find such large-scale copper mine. Now, the deposit is located in the north of the country, as you're going to see here on the map. And for several years now, the United States has actually been massively reinvesting in those mines. One of the reasons why is because, well, there's a global race to secure the supply of so-called rare earth materials, which have become essential for the energy transition. So to create all of those green infrastructures that the US, but also Europe, want to implement, and also to create those batteries for electric vehicles. And I'd say more largely, of course, for all other technological devices. Now, the other reason the US is reinvesting in these mines is also because most of the mines in Zambia and the DRC are already owned by Chinese companies and operated by Chinese companies. So the US wants to regain control and reduce the dependence. Now, the startup says it's used artificial intelligence to try to create these sort of Google Maps of the Earth's crust to try to help them find those deposits of copper. But they're also looking, of course, for lithium, cobalt, and nickel, because there are altogether 17 rare earths that are becoming indispensable today to create all of those technologies. Just to give you an example, Angela, a smartphone is going to require dozens of materials from around the world. So tantalum from the DRC, lithium, for instance, from Bolivia, Australian gold, and Chinese rare earths.
And they are called Chinese rare earths because the Chinese really do dominate that global market, don't they?
I'm calling them Chinese rare earths because indeed in 2021, 60% of the world's rare earth production was indeed controlled by the Chinese. And of course, that's worrying other countries because they're now at a disadvantage, especially considering the fact that in 2023, China announced export restrictions on, for instance, graphite. Graphite is very interesting as well, just like lithium for electric vehicles, for those batteries. And here you have three problems. For one, as I said, the rare earths are unevenly distributed in the world. And on the backdrop of that, of course, you have geopolitical tensions. The second problem is that you have three steps. You have to find the rare earth, you have to extract it, and you have to refine it. And those two last steps, once again, these are Chinese technologies for the extraction and the refining. Now, the third problem is the carbon footprint of those last two steps, which is actually pretty important. And here it actually challenges the primary reason you were extracting, which was to create green infrastructure. So here, scientists are working on new techniques, trying to make the extraction a little bit more selective, so trying to get from Earth exactly what you need to then make the refining process much easier and less polluting.
Wow. Thank you very much, Julia. Julia Seeger there with that science segment. And that brings us to the end of today's programme. Do stay with us. There's more on the top of the hour.